What's up to my viewers out there in YouTube land? This is Mighty Fan again. The official start of a new season started last Thursday night when the Broncos beat the Panthers 21-20. Have a couple notes from that game that I think goes for my Eagles too, that I kind of would like to see from my Eagles, I should say, going into this season. I'll get into that in a bit, but it is season 3. This is the official start, the official start of season 3 of Season of the Fan. Philadelphia Eagles, 2016-2017 season. I really need to stand for this, you know? I just have it up against my knee, and I'm sorry for the shakiness. I don't want to have like that, Blair Witch effect with this video at times, but so I apologize about that. But at the same time, it is what it is. I'm also sorry for the sound. I don't know what's going on with my microphone in my iPad. I know the sound's a little low, so you have to turn up the volume on your YouTube player or whatever, but there's really nothing I can do about it. I have what I have. This is what I can use. Maybe I'll try to get the microphone connected to it, see if that helps, but at some point, maybe next video. But all that aside, it is the official start of the NFL season for 2016-17. I'm really excited about this. As I said a week ago, I was happy with that trade. The Eagles traded away Bradford. They got a first round pick, and you have these fans you have fans of other teams saying the only reason they did that is because the Eagles are hosting the draft next year, and so they get a first round pick. And that's not a reason that you make a trade. I mean, if you think that that's a reason to make a trade, you're an idiot. I mean, I'm sorry, man. Know a little something about the game, all right? They made the trade because you weren't going to get a first-round pick for Sam Bradford after this season. You make the trade so that, guess what? The guy that you moved all the way up to the second overall pick to get to be your franchise quarterback can start playing as your starting quarterback. And, oh, by the way, the quarterback that fits this offense better because he's mobile. He can make plays with his feet, keep plays alive with his feet. The Eagles want to run something similar because Doug Peterson came from the system. They want to run similar to what they do in Kansas City. Now, what do they have in Kansas City? Who's their quarterback in Kansas City? Alex Smith. Now, you're not going to compare him to a Russell Wilson or a Cam Newton or something like that, but Alex Smith is a mobile quarterback. He keeps plays alive. They don't have big time, wide receivers. Now they do have Jeremy Maclin. I wish he was still here, but they get a lot out of their tight ends and they get a lot out of the screen plays, and they are able to keep plays alive with a mobile quarterback. That's the offense they run in Kansas City. They've had success running it. The Eagles are trying to run a hybrid of that offense. Well, what do you need to do that? You need a mobile quarterback. And last time I checked, Sam Bradford is not the most mobile quarterback. In fact, it's better if he tries not to run, because usually when he does, that's when he gets hurt. Okay? So Sam Bradford is more of your prototypical pocket passer. Now, that works in Minnesota. Okay? That's the type of offense obviously Teddy Bridgewater can run a little bit, but Sam Bradford fits that offense. Sam Bradford does not fit the offense that they want to run here in Philadelphia with Doug Peterson. This is not the offense, and to have an offense that's going to work, a quarterback needs to fit it. The quarterback is your most important aspect of an offense. You need a quarterback that fits the way they want to run the offense. Okay, so Carson Wentz. One of the reasons they moved all the way up to get him is because they figured he was the quarterback in the draft that was going to be able to fit what they wanted to do on offense here. Now you got fans saying, well, they didn't have to move all the way up there. They could have stayed and drafted Dak Prescott. It would have been fine. Maybe so. But they saw something in this kid, man. They saw something in Carson Wentz that made them want to go up and get him. And you can't blame them for doing that unless it just doesn't work out. And as I said last week, if Carson Wentz doesn't work out, if he's not that franchise quarterback, that's the legacy of Howie Roseman. And I think Howie's done a lot of good so far coming back as the GM. But obviously if Carson Wentz doesn't work out, well, that's his legacy. If he works out, that's his legacy. That's the biggest move that they made. But they saw something in the kid. And until we see anything different, we're just going to have to see what he's about. Now, I will say this. I've seen this game for a number of years, and I know with rookie quarterbacks, and any rookie, at times there's going to be growing pains. There's a lot of youth on this offense. You got a rookie quarterback. You got a lot of young wide receivers, tight ends. You got Brent Selleck, who's one of the elders, who is the elder statesman on this offense. But you also have a lot of youth, and you have some running backs in Matthews and Sproles who have been around for a few seasons. But there's also youth there too with Varner, with Varner behind them. Okay. So they have a lot of youth. They have some, the offensive line we're going to have to see. That's a work in progress, okay? And if Lane Johnson does get suspended for 10 games, it's going to be even more a work in progress. So I know that this year we can't expect great shakes, okay? We're not going to be scoring 40 points a game, okay? There's going to be times where they struggle. But at the same time, I want to see what Carson Wentz is all about. Now, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to learn to slide at times, okay? But I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing what he's about. It's exciting. I mean, it's like having a new toy, It's exciting to see what he's going to be about, starting tomorrow at home against Cleveland. It's exciting. It's a lot more exciting than it would have been if Bradford was still here. And again, I was okay with that. If he was still here, if they never made the move with Minnesota, and he was still here, okay. Wentz is behind. He learns by watching. But you know what? The old saying is true. Sometimes the best way to learn is by doing. And so they gave a chance to get Wentz out there in week 1. Get out there. Get his feet wet. Let's see what he's all about. I referred to the Denver-Carolina game on Thursday night. And one of the things that... And look, Denver is the defending Super Bowl champion. That defense won a championship last year. So I'm not putting the Eagles up with Denver, okay? They got Demaryius Thomas. They got Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, it's different. They got better receivers than what the Eagles do. But one of the things that I was really encouraged with is they have a young quarterback, not a rookie, because he was there, a year ago when they won the Super Bowl, but a young quarterback making his first start. What was he doing? He was keeping plays alive. Now, that was a great defense they went up against in Denver. With all due respect to Cleveland, that's a better defense in Carolina than what the Eagles are going to be going up against tomorrow in Cleveland. But what was Simeon able to do in that game? Keep plays alive with his feet. Okay, keep drives alive by keeping plays alive, finding players for first downs. Maybe he ran for a first down here and there. I like that. I like the way he played. I like the way he managed the game. He wasn't asked to throw 30-yard bombs, Peyton Manning type touchdown passes. He was asked to do to work with his strength, and that's keeping plays alive, moving the ball, moving around. They ran the ball a lot. It was a lot of power runs you saw in that Denver game. That's something that I'd like to see the Eagles do. I'd like to see them use Ryan Matthews, who was their best running back a year ago, even with DeMarco Murray here. Ryan Matthews was their best running back. Now he has to stay healthy, but he was their best running back. So give him the ball. Give Darren Sproles the ball. Give playmakers a chance to make plays. So you saw a young quarterback in that game at home making his first start. It did help. It was at home in Denver. Go out and make some plays. He made mistakes. But he's a young quarterback. All young quarterbacks are going to make mistakes. And he went up against the top 2 defense in the league. So you're going to make some mistakes against a defense like that in Carolina. But he made a lot of plays. I think he surprised a lot of people. I don't think there's a lot of people who thought he played that well in that game. So I was encouraged by that. Here we are in Philadelphia with a young quarterback, mobile quarterback, who can make plays with his arm and his feet. Kind of similar situation. Making his first start in the NFL at home. Maybe not exactly against the caliber of team that Simeon went up against, but still, at home against another NFL team. It helps. When you're not on the road in your first start, you're at home. But the fans are for you instead of, shouting against you. So, that's one of the things that I was encouraged with seeing in that game. The other thing I liked is one of the touchdowns that Carolina scored. And that was the Cam Newton to Kelvin Benjamin touchdown. And it was a simple play. Red zone. Offense was out there. Cam threw it up and let his big receiver go up and get it, Kelvin Benjamin. Now, he's had more of a rapport even though Benjamin missed all of last season, he has had more of a rapport with Kelvin Benjamin because of what they did the year before. Kind of knows where Kelvin wants the ball, was able to make a play. Than Carson Wentz is going to have with the receivers. But one of the things I liked about that is the fact that Kelvin Benjamin's a big receiver. He's a beast. He's a big guy, tall, athletic, goes up and gets it, right? Defender's not going to take the ball away from you when you're that tall going up for the ball. So the Eagles this offseason, what do? They brought in Dorial Green-Beckham. And I know he's raw. I know he's young. He's still got a lot to learn. But one of the things you know is when you have a tall receiver, you just put it up, let him make a play. And in the red zone, that's something I'd like to see the Eagles do. I'd like to see the Eagles run a variation of that play. If they have a chance at that on tomorrow, if they're in the red zone, why not the first play? Just let Dorial Green-Beckham go, throw it up, let him go up and get it. What corner is going to take the ball away? Even Kelvin Hayden, he's not going to jump up to get the ball away from a receiver that's that tall. And if he's like single coverage one-on-one, just let your big receiver go up and make a play. That's the type of play that I think could work here with Wentz to Dorial Green-Beckham. Again, emphasis on could. I mean, Cam Newton is an MVP, and Kelvin Benjamin had a really, really great rookie year some years ago, and they have that rapport already. It might take a little while for Wentz to have that rapport with one of his receivers, whether it's Dorial Green-Beckham, or Jordan Matthews, or Josh Huff, whoever. It's going to take a little time, but that's the type of play that I think could be something the Eagles could work and could win with in the red zone situation. Whether it's Dorial Green-Beckham or Ertz, maybe even Aguilar. I mean, Aguilar has a lot to prove, right? But, those are the type of plays that you just let your big receivers go up and get. And it's a simple play. I mean, it wasn't anything too fancy. It was just throw it up there, let your receiver make a play. No defensive back's going to take that ball away from a guy that tall, more than likely, unless they're just super athletic and can jump like a jackrabbit, So yeah, I those are some of the things that I took away from that game. The other thing, obviously, you talk about the defense, and those are two of the great defenses. Look, those are two of the best defenses in the league. The Eagles are trying to put together a great defense, and I think they're on the right track. They already have some Pro Bowl talent on this defense. You talk about Fletcher Cox, you talk about Malcolm Jenkins, Connor Barwin. Hicks could be a Pro Bowler down the road. You want to see more out of some of these other guys. I really like Benny Logan, too, in the middle with Fletcher Cox. They just wreak havoc on the opposing team. I like what I've seen so far. And one of the emphasis on this offseason is the takeaways. Get those takeaways. You can do a lot of damage as a defense. Obviously, when you talk about the great defenses, what do? They stop the other team and they get takeaways. And this Eagles defense, again, I'm not going to put them up there with Carolina or Denver or some of the other great defenses that we have right now, but I think they could be that. And you got to start somewhere, right? These teams are not built. That Seattle defense was not built in one season. It took time. But they got the right players, they got the right defensive schemes, the right defensive coordinators. And it's like I said before, the Legion of Boom is great. They're a tremendous secondary. But without that great press that they get up front, with those other players that they got, Bobby Wagner's one of the best middle linebackers in the game. I mean, they get a lot of pressure from that defensive line. And without that, even the Legion of Boom isn't the Legion of Boom. So you gotta get those horses up front. And that's something I think the Eagles have a chance at having, particularly when you look at Cox and Logan, two of the best defensive tackles in the game right now. And they're here. And now it's just about building around them and building a defensive line. And hopefully, Brandon Graham continues to play well. I know they're in a defense now that suits him better. I know he's played better as each season gone on. Yes, they still should have drafted Earl Thomas over him, with all due respect to Brandon Graham. But you know what? He had a good year last year. He's playing better as the seasons go on. He's starting to understand what being a defensive player in the NFL is all about. Going into this season, he's in a defense that's more suited for him. Maybe he has another big year. Maybe he even has an outside shot of a Pro Bowl type season. Connor Barwin, again, we know what he can do. He was a Pro Bowler so far with the Eagles on defense. I like their safeties. I like the leaders that they have on this team. I like the moves they made in the offseason. As I said before, bringing in veteran defensive players who have had a history playing in a Jim Schwartz defense, whether it was Buffalo or Detroit, bringing those guys in. Let them teach these young players about this defense. Let them grow together as a unit, so that we go, not just for this season, but for the season to come. Without a great defense, without you know, without a great defense, without a defense that can stop the other team, and comes together as a unit, you're not going to have great success. And you can have whoever you want on offense. It's not going to matter. There have been teams that have had great offenses that never could even get to a Super Bowl because they just never had that defense in place. So I love the fact that they're trying to put a defense together here in Philly. And we here in Eagle Nation, we love a great defense. You talk about some of our all-time favorite players are defensive players. And I love the fact that they're trying to put this together. Is it going to take time? Yeah. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. Those great defenses weren't put together overnight. It takes time. But I like what they have some pieces to start with and keep building on it. Because this offense is going to take a little doing. This offense, look, we're going to go through growing pains this season. That's to be expected. It's not going to be a great offense. It's not going to be a horrible offense. But this season, more than anything else, obviously I'm excited to see Carson Wentz and seeing what he's about. But I'm real excited about this defense. I'm real excited to see what they could be at the end of the season. I think their curve is a little greater than what the offense is going to be. I think the Eagles' defense has a chance to be a top 7 defense by the end of the season. I think that's doing something, because I think you can continue to build on that, continue to be a great defense going forward. And we all know what happened in the Andy Reid years when they were going to NFC title games, when they were going to the Super Bowl, when they had that sustained success. Yes, they had the franchise quarterback in place in Donovan McNabb, but they also had a great defense and a great defensive coordinator in place, and they built that defense. They put it together, and it became one of the best in the league. And that's one of the reasons why they had that sustained success. And gave us those great seasons. And that's certainly something that they have a chance. I'm not saying for sure, because we don't know, but I think they have a chance to be a really good defense going forward this season and after the season for the next few seasons. How many years? And you continue to build on it. You keep getting players. Just continue to find a way to build this. Yes, it's the word that's been flying around Philadelphia sports for all of our teams. It's exercising patience. This season, I can't tell you exactly that I know what's going to happen. They can win 5 games. They can win 6, 7, 8 games. They can win 9 or 10 games. You just don't know. There's a lot of unknowns going into this season. We don't know about Doug Peterson as a head coach. We don't know about Carson Wentz as a quarterback. We don't know about what the capabilities of this offense is going to be. We just don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of unknowns going into this year, but I think it's also something that makes it exciting, because we have a new quarterback here to watch, and grow into this system. Young receiving core, that hopefully won't drop the ball as much as they did a year ago. Guys obviously have to stay healthy. I mean, Ryan Matthews, look, he's going to be the starting running back. He's got to stay healthy. Jordan Hicks, starting middle linebacker. You got to stay healthy. That health plays a huge role too. I mean, the teams that are great teams, one of the things that they have working for them is that for the most part they stay healthy. You don't see Tom Brady going down with injury a lot in New England, or a lot of their key players. Although this season they start with Gronkowski out with the injury. I have him on my fantasy team. I'm not too happy about that. He's out week 1. But those teams have had that sustained success. When you talk about the teams that have been great for how many years in a row, and one of the reasons is they don't have a lot of injuries for their key players year to year. For the most part, they stay healthy. And yeah, I mean, luck has a lot to do with winning in the NFL too. You have to have talent, but you have to have health. And if you have a lot of injuries and such, it doesn't matter who you have. You're probably not going to have a very successful year. So you got to stay healthy and you got to stay consistent. That's one of the problems that this team has had. Last few seasons, particularly with the consistency, competing. That's just something we didn't see on a consistent level the last few seasons. This is a team that started off really well. The first season I did this season of the Fan Series was the second year in the Chip Kelly era. They got off to a great start. But then after Thanksgiving, it just all fell apart. And it just, it went from looking like it could be a really great season to a season just fell apart just like that. Last season, obviously, there were some moments. I mean, they beat the Patriots somehow. I still don't really... Right? Go figure, right? In that horrible year, they still found a way to beat the Patriots in New England. But for the most part, it was just way too inconsistent. The compete levels just weren't there. They just didn't have it. It started off week 1 against Atlanta. They just didn't have it. It's like it took them a whole half, to finally get going. And then after the halftime, they started putting it together, and then they ended up losing the game. But it was just a sign of things to come. Inconsistencies. It was a mess. And the compete levels just weren't there. So this season, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect with Carson Wentz. I'm excited for him. I think the kid has a chance to be a really good quarterback in this league. I really do. But obviously, it's going to be some growing pains this year. He's going to make some mistakes. He's a young quarterback. I mean, for the most part, all young quarterbacks come in the league, and it takes a little time. Obviously, what he has around him. You talk about the offensive line, the problems that could be there, the young receiving core. We hope Ryan Matthews can stay healthy. Darren Sproles is a veteran running back. We'll see. There's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of what could be's. But I'll tell you what, I am happier going into this season with Wentz at the helm than Bradford, only because I know that Wentz fits this offense, what they want to do in this offense better than what Sam Bradford was. Again, you look at Kansas City, you see what they do there. It's going to be a hybrid of that offense. Not huge plays downfield. They're not going to be chucking the ball for 40, 50-yard passes. I mean, that would be fun, but you're not going to get a whole lot of that. You're going to get more of the, you're going to see more of the tight ends. You're going to see more of the running backs in the passing game. Yes, you're going to have receivers too. I mean, they're going to have to play, but it's not going to be like the big play downfield. We remember those many years ago when it's McNabb to Owens. That's probably not what you're going to see here with the Wentz to Jordan Matthews combination. With all due respect to Jordan, who happens to wear number 81. You're probably not going to see those type of things. But what we are going to hope to see is some consistency on this offense. And also an offense that's not the Speedy Gonzalez offense. They're not running plays every few seconds, which helps the defense. And it also helps the offense, too. I mean, look, guys can get burned out after a season playing that way. It just happens. Even though these guys are the top athletes, some of the top athletes there is, you can still burn them out by running that type of offense that Chip Kelly was trying to do. For those, particularly last season, that was just nuts at the end of the year. So look, going into this season, what do I have? What are my expectations? What do I think their record's going to be? What do I think the season's going to wind up? How's it going to go? I don't want this to sound like a cop-out, but I really don't know. I mean, if this defense balls and plays like a top, 7 defense, 6 defense throughout the season, this is a team that could win 9 or 10 games. And Carson Wentz, has a solid year, and the offense is doing better than expected. Yeah, I mean, they can win 9 or 10 games. They could. But more than likely, what's going to happen is you're going to have an offense that at times is going to struggle. You have a young rookie quarterback, probably going to make some mistakes. Learning on the fly, learning on the go. So you're not going to get that crispness. But one of the things, like I said, I was encouraged to see in that Denver game was how Simeon moved the ball, how he moved that offense, how that offense ran. The fact that they ran the ball a lot with C.J. Anderson. They had a lot of success with that. And that's something the Eagles could do with Ryan Matthews, Darren Sproles. The kind of dual threat there. Maybe even mix in a little Barner, from time to time. They could do that. But I like the fact that Simeon was keeping plays alive with his legs. Even against a great defense in Carolina, he made some plays by moving outside of that pocket, feeling the pressure get to him, moving around. At times he looked like a veteran out there. And yeah, he made some mistakes. But he's a young quarterback. You got to expect that. Same thing here with Philly, with Carson Wentz. Guy that's going to keep plays alive. We saw that in the preseason game against Tampa Bay. Against some pretty good defensive players. I mean, moving around, keeping plays alive, even running for like a first down, if I recall, at one point. Yes, he got hurt. He kind of flipped over a guy. Don't want to see a lot of that. But he's a quarterback that will keep plays alive with his feet, and it opens things up down the field, which is a good thing. Certainly a good thing. It's not a great receiving core. Maybe when all's said and done, some of those players in a few years will be better receivers, maybe a Jordan Matthews, Dorial Green Beckham. We hope Aguilar could, former first-round pick, could pick it up a little this season, but we'll see. There's a lot of question marks on offense. We just don't know. The offensive line, of course, we just don't know. I mean, it's not going to be compared to one of the better offensive lines in the league. They have some talent. We'll see about the suspension with Lane Johnson whenever that comes down. That could be a big blow. 10 games, obviously, particularly with a rookie quarterback out there. So we just don't know. If I had to be pressed to give you a number, to give you a record this season, I'm going to say 8-8. And I'm going to say 8-8. Again, that kind of sounds like a cop-out, but it's just a season. I don't know what to expect, particularly with the offense. I kind of know what to expect with the defense. I think you're going to see a lot more consistency and compete level on that defense. I think that defense is going to be the strength of this team, and the special teams is going to be the strength of this team. And I always keep it honest with you, and I'm keeping it honest. Even though I'm looking forward to Carson Wentz and seeing how this offense, in the Doug Peterson, schemes, how it moves, I know the strength of this team this season, particularly with a rookie quarterback in there. The strength of the team this season is going to be the defense and the special teams. And then you see what you got in offense. And hopefully you score enough points to be able to win, some of those games, some of those close games that they're probably going to be in this year. So that being said, I'm looking at an 8-8 type of year for the Eagles, which I'll take. I'll take at the end of the season if Carson Wentz shows that, throughout the season he's improved, he's getting to see and be what a starting franchise quarterback is supposed to be. If we finish this season and he's progressed week to week and he keeps getting better, I think that looks even better for the future. Of course, this defense, the compete levels, what they could be. Like I said, they could put 3 or 4 players in the Pro Bowl this year. I think that's something to be excited for. I really do. We love a great defense here in Philly, and Eagle fans all over the world love a great defense. And I think that's something we're going to be able to put together. It's going to take a little time. I mean, anything takes time. But I think as the seasons go on, you're going to see a great defense put together here. With Jim Schwartz at the helm as defensive coordinator, and the players, the leaders that they have on that side of the ball is something that we can really be excited for. I really look forward to it. I really do. I'm excited for this defense. I really am. But again, they have to put it together on the field. It's one thing to say what they're going to be. It's another thing for them to show what they're going to be. But I look forward to that. I really do. So at the end of the season, like I said, I think it's going to be like an 8-8 type of year. I could be wrong, but I just want to see the compete levels there, and that's just what I didn't get on a consistent level a year ago. I want to get that this year, particularly at the end of the season. The last 4 or 5 games of the season, I want to see them compete. I want to see them be consistent. On all sides of the ball. Offense, defense, and special teams. Because you know what? That goes into the offseason. That goes into next season. Andy Reid's first year here. The team played pretty well down the stretch. I mean, they beat the team that won the Super Bowl that year in the Rams. In Philadelphia. I think they beat the Patriots, too, or something like that year. And they didn't do a lot of winning that year, but they finished the year strong. and it carried over for the next seasons. They started putting in place the cornerstones, the building blocks of what that team was going to be going forward. That's what I want to see this year. Even if they win 6, 7 games, I want to see that compete level. I want to see them put the cornerstones and building blocks into what this team and this franchise is going to be going forward, which we're hoping will be like they were in the Andy Reid era when they were going to the NFC title games, when they went to a Super Bowl, when they gave us some great seasons and players that we always remember. Even this year, Jeremiah Trotter going to the Eagles Hall of Fame, one of those players from those teams. So that's what I want to see. When all is said and done, when the dust settles, even if this isn't a season where we go to the playoffs and we're winning a division title and all that, and even in a bad division, what I want to see is the cornerstone put into this team, the building blocks. Carson Wentz become, as the season goes on, sees what it is to be a quarterback in the National Football League and become that by season's end. So we can be excited for that going forward. This defense going forward. I want to see some players become playmakers on offense too. Not just the defense. Jordan Matthews, Ryan Matthews, stay healthy. See what they got going forward throughout the season. Dorial Green-Beckham, maybe he becomes, one of the playmakers on this team. Like I said, big wide receiver, throw it up there, let him make a play. I want to see that. I want to see more from the tight ends this year. I want to see, you got a 3-headed tight end monster now this year. So okay, let's see what they do going forward. This season, more than anything else, and I'm going to keep repeating this, it's about the building blocks, about the cornerstones of what this team is going to be. The start of what could be a great Eagles team going forward, the way we had those years ago. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see out of this season. I'll take a year of starting and rebuilding and going through the growing pains at times that it might be. But at the end of the season, if this team's competing and they're playing hard and they're showing what this team can be next season and in the seasons to come, I'll be okay with it. But I want them to compete. I want to see that. I want the consistency. I want them to show, at the end, what we have to look forward to going forward. Even if it isn't this season, even if we don't see playoffs this season, what are we going to see going forward? And I look forward to it. I really do. As always, I look forward to the season. I always look forward to the Eagles. The Eagles are the first team in Philadelphia that I ever, started. As like I said before, 1993, I started watching this team play. And, I watch every game. I've rarely ever missed a game, even in bad years. To me, it's a badge of honor. I mean, you stick with your team, and that's just how it is. We get a lot of flack around here with other fan bases talking about Super Bowls, but you know what? If this team this year shows that they can put it together throughout this season as the season's going on, I don't think it will be too long before we're talking about Super Bowls. Particularly if the defense can become what we hope it can be, what they should become. I don't think it will be very long, and of course Carson Wentz. Because you don't win Super Bowls without a defense, and you don't win Super Bowls without that franchise quarterback. We all know this. So what this team has to put together is a defense, and hopefully Carson Wentz can become that franchise quarterback. Show us why we moved all the way up to the second pick in the draft to get the kid here. We'll see by season's end, just as we saw those many years ago when Donovan was the quarterback in his first year. He didn't even start that year. It was Doug Peterson, who's now the coach. But at the end of the season, we were excited, even though it was a losing year, because we had Donovan. We saw what we had in Donovan, and we saw what we had in some of those defensive players, coming up with the team, like a Dawkins and a Trotter and Hugh Douglas and company. They went on to have some great years here, and that's what we're hoping for again this season. So, long story short, man, it's been almost 35 minutes I've been filming this, but new season's here. We got the Cleveland Browns coming in. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a tight game, but I think in the end the Eagles win. Maybe on a Caleb Sturgis field goal. Maybe Carson starts his Eagles career by driving down the field for a game-winning field goal in the end. I think that would be pretty cool. Actually, get it started on the right foot there, Carson. Maybe he makes a few plays with his feet, doesn't get hurt. and Caleb Sturgis wins the game on a last-second field goal. I think that would be pretty cool. And either way, just as long as they win, that's all that's important, right? A win's a win's a win. So I think the Eagles are going to beat the Browns tomorrow afternoon, and I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to see Carson Wentz. I'm excited to see this defense. I'm excited to see as the season goes on, what do they have? Do they have any other playmakers on this offense? I think we're going to have to see that. But I'm excited for it. A lot of things I think us in Eagles Nation have to look forward to going forward, and let it go, man. Let's get this thing started. Shout out to all the Eagle fans that are going to be at the game tomorrow. I'll be here in my green chair watching the game as I usually do. But I know E-Rock and all those loyal Eagle fans are going to be out there tailgating tomorrow at outside of the link, and then at the game, full throat as always. And yeah, let's get the season started on a good note. Let's get a W tomorrow against Cleveland, get to 1-0, and then see what happens from there. All right, everyone. Well, that's going to do it. I'll be back after the game tomorrow with post-game reaction. But Season of the Fan Season 3 has begun. And, as always, let's go Birds. I'll see y'all in the next one. All right.